understand that. And you're doing the Hulk Hogan thing where you know, picks up the arm, it drops. That last time when you don't drop, you're trying to build these moments, because when you're a live performer, you want people to lose their fucking minds. You want to melt their faces. You want to take them on a ride. And so that gets back to that thing we were talking about, how you have to have empathy and you have to be humble, because you have this responsibility for these people's evenings. And you also want them to come back and see you. So you can't be up there for you. You have to be listening to the needs, what I need to do here. I mean, you can be self-indulgent, try some new shit, you know, take them to a creepy place, but you got to be able to walk them back
Yeah.
to the main corridor at some point.
That was AC/DC's drummer, right?
Phil Rudd, yeah.
Yeah, and I've listened to AC/DC my whole life. I remember when they first went out on tour. One of my best friends was in a speed metal band called Nosferatu. And for Nothing Else Matters, they wore his t-shirt. Like, I knew some serious speed metal dudes in Virginia.
Yeah.
Like some dirtbaggy, like, rock and roll. And those were some of the first shows that I saw. And so I do have like affinity for metal and good rock drumming. Did you see the Ginger Baker movie?
Yes, I did. That was wild. And when he said
that was
John
a hard
Bonham,
one for me.
When he said John Bonham couldn't swing a sack of shit, like my jaw was on the ground. And then I died laughing in a comedic way, where this guy's like a stand-up comic slaying something precious, because no one has ever said that.
Yeah.
And to say that on film and to just dismiss him. But I gotta be honest with you, like I gotta listen to more Cream and Ginger Baker, because my ears must not be advanced enough to understand what I'm hearing, because when they brought up John Bonham in comparison to Ginger in that documentary, Eric dismissed him. Not saying he was a bad player, but he went like, oh, no. Like, not like he was saying, like, not even the same ballpark. But he was like, I guess he was really into Elvin Jones and could hang with those guys in that form.
You could hang with the jazz crew, like Ginger Baker, like jazz. Yeah, I mean, rock and roll is kick ass, busting your face. Jazz is high technical, you know, it's a higher level in some ways, some people thinking, you know, a higher level of music. But rock and roll,
I think it's a different thing. But I will say, where the I don't know what you call it in jazz, but where the beat is in the swing of jazz, which is why there was so many great drummers in the 60s and 70s, because they grew up listening to their dad's records, which were jazz. So they had that swing pulse.
That swing beat.
It was in their DNA. So when they went to rock, they had a swing to their playing, and I felt the groove was deeper back then. And then what happened is, when music got so heavy, you know, and then my generation came along, we started at Zeppelin and Sabbath, and even though that those bands had these drummers that were swinging their asses off, like the sort of the implied beat on it was, I mean, I watch a bunch of old drum videos, and it's funny, you know, you watch white crowds in the 50s, they'll clap on 2 and 4 when they're listening to a jazz band. And within 20 years of that, they've now gone to clapping on 1 and 3 or on all 4 beats, because it's like dun 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 dun. It got real slogged down into the mud. But what was funny was, those guys, so many of them were jazz drummers, and
no, I know what you mean.
That's also why I feel like a lot of their fills, it was so snare based, because like a lot of those guys, you know, it was all about rudiments and used toms as like accents. And then as the kits got bigger, it's really a fascinating thing. And you see the ebb and flow, just like in comedy, where you have the 80s, you know, starts in the 70s, these comedy clubs are coming up, and then the 80s boom. And then anybody with a mullet and their hair pulled up can somehow get on TV and tell jokes. And that's almost like the end of the era, like the end of hair metal. And then grunge comes along and it gets stripped down. With us, it was like alternative comedy, which people don't remember when it first came out, was great because it was a bunch of beast club comics that did it. But then what they did was they created this scene that people could go into and just stand in front of a room full of them. So I would say that by the third wave of all comic, it was sort of hair metal in like 92 or something like that.
Yeah, it all runs its course. Whatever becomes king runs its course. That's why you can't really believe the hype and just try to, work from, real relationships. Because
or just keep doing what you're doing, which is definitely what I learned from AC/DC.
Yeah, I never fit in with the alt crew or the Funny Bone crew. Like I've always done my own. And I remember AC/DC wouldn't get written up in Rolling Stone. Neither was Led Zeppelin, was kind of looked down. Now they're like worshipped and hipsters are like, oh, this is the end all. But during the 70s and 80s, they wouldn't even play them on regular rock and roll. Like it was like, yeah, you had to know somebody or to get turned on to Kiss records and get turned on to AC/DC records. I just heard a new AC/DC song that I didn't know, but is amazing. It's Riff Raff.
Oh yeah. Last song, First Side, Highway to Hell album.
Yeah, man. Like there's some deep cuts. Like I know Ride On. Like I know.
Oh no, wait. Riff Raff was good for a laugh.
I think that's on Power Age. I think that's on.
I'm getting old. No, I'm sorry. Isn't that on Power Age?
Yeah, I think it's on Power Age. It's a Bon Scott. The stuff
that's
I
right.
saw.
Power Age. Last song.
Yeah. One of the I'm a fan of this band called Clutch, and the lead singer Neil Fallon covered it. And I was like, I never heard this tune, and it has kind of a lot of stand-up reference. It's a cool tune.
I got to look it up. Yeah, Power Age. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Power Age.
I used to not pay attention in class, and I would write out every song of every album of AC/DC in order.
Bon Scott or the other guy. It's hard to say, man, because Back in Black is such a good
Brian
album.
Johnson. All right, here's what I would say. I'll say that my favorite album by each and then the most underrated. So I would say my favorite Bon Scott. That's a hard one. Power Age is obviously the underrated one. And
just how it's recorded sounds cool.
Yeah. I would say I do love the live album, but I might have to go Highway to Hell just because I love the second side of that album. And I also, as a fan, I just love the direction, so all the albums were like so raw, and then they were finally starting to break and they had a little more production value to it. And Phil's drumming got a little more busier. By busy, it's still like really
Stephen
like
King put
minimalist.
him in got him score a movie. They did Who Made Who?
Yeah.
Who Made You?
Brian Johnson, Everybody Loves the Back in Black album. My buddy Joe Bartnick and myself love Flick of the Switch, but lately in the last few years, I actually think the best sounding AC/DC album ever is For Those About to Rock. I just think it's the crunchiest the guitars sound, and I love Phil Rudd's drumming on one particular track, COD. I just love, when I get back off the road, I have a playlist, and that's the first one that I play to, and I just bash the shit out of my drums. I have so much fun. Like that song, Get It Hot, off second side, Highway to Hell.
COD, I'll check out. I haven't heard that.
Care of the Devil. And it's just like, I heard that they had an absolute nightmare recording that album because whoever produced it was taking forever to get sounds and they were going out of their minds. But I didn't for the longest time.
Rock? It wasn't pop rock.
I forget who it was. I'm sorry, sliding down here.
I remember that Def Leppard album. Did you go full in on the Pyromania album when it broke? Because that was almost as big as the Michael Jackson album, as I remember.
Pyromania album. In the last 5 years, I downloaded it again and listened to it and was absolutely just blown away. And then the album before that too, whatever that one's called.
Diver Down.
Yeah, those
Diver
ones
Down
are,
is that got
is Diver Down? I think that's a Van Halen album.
No, but there's one that somebody's diving in the picture and there's like a truck. I remember.
Isn't it High and Dry?
Yeah, High and Dry.
High and Dry. Yeah, Diver Down was Van Halen.
Yeah,
Alex Van Halen. ridiculously underrated drummer just because he plays with Eddie. So everybody was
Van
so
Halen
blown
brothers.
away by Eddie. Meanwhile, Alex Van Halen's, his phrasing, his drum parts, his sound.
They sound like congos. Hot for Teacher, that
Yes.
beginning, that it has like
Yeah.
this Congo jungle.
And just the creativity to come up with that,
Yeah.
to make it sound like a a fast car idling.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I could talk
I
about
only have
it.
you for a couple more minutes. You've been too good to me. Where are you at? I know you've never been a big pot smoker, but where are you at with cannabis with the country in terms? I don't even know if it's political. Where are you at with it? Do you care or not? Or where? I mean,
I was never used to be into it, and then I quit drinking in 2018. So, and then like it kind of all got like legalized, and so I'm one of those guys. I'm a lightweight. Like I'll take a gummy here or there.
yeah.
I'll take a hit here or there, but generally speaking, I've kind of been straight edge, which is hard, man. Like I used to do a bit about that. Straight edge people just every day taking life in the face. I got a couple.
I know
of,
life is hard, man. You get thrown so many curveballs, and I live in New York, and I've been here since 2005, and I'm like, I never stop getting curveballs. Like I think I get to a point where I got this figured out, and just fucking always.
Can you imagine if you're high though? If your release was if you actually learned how to meditate properly, if you gave those assholes enough money and they gave you your chant word because they turned it into a business. If you did that and you could read and you could actually unwind doing that, because I try it with drums.
That's what I do, man. The phone kills me. I practice bad guitar. I stretch. I do these things called the five. You'll make fun of them, but they're
I
five
won't.
Tibetan
I love stretching.
rites. They're like these.
They're what?
What's that?
What are they called? Sorry, I'm talking over
The five Tibetan rites. And
oh, dude, you got to send me that.
Yeah, they're 5 stretches, and they're all core strength, all simple. It takes maybe 20 minutes, but it stretches everything out. It's Tibetan monks. It's what they do. It's called the Fountain of Youth, but they do it. But it's a lot of core. It's a lot of just like stretching this because we're sitting down and driving and eating hamburgers all day.
Oh yeah, I've discovered the psoas muscle as everybody does when they get older. Well, but the problem is your psoas muscle. So